Hi everyone. It's me, Domino SNK.
Smash and Crash.
And LightEcoSage.
Yep, and today we're here to talk about Jack. Everything Jack related because, Sony Santa Monica will be working on a patch and they'll be listening to community feedback. So, these podcasts are intended to inform you guys, to, get some of the more well-known players talking about their characters, since, the consensus tends to be that the top players know their characters very well. Silver cannot be with us today, but has given all of his information to LES, LightEcoSage, since Silver's mic is this cannot work. So if you were expecting Silver, I'm sorry, but yeah, he has all the information. He gave all his information to LES and us, so we have that handled. So going off of that, LES, how do you feel? Where does Jack stand right now, matchup-wise and tier list-wise?
Well, tier-wise, he's low tier in basically all the modes. Matchup-wise, he doesn't really have any solid matchups, but there are a few characters he can just about nearly go even with. And if he was buffed, basically what I said before, all of that.
Okay, so is there any... So, how does Jack normally play? Just give us a quick Jack... overall, this is how Jack should play, and if he plays like this, he should be able to get a win.
He's short to mid-range. Not exactly long range, but he has two tools that go mid-range, while everything else he does is basically close range.
Okay, and it's because that he's, So it's because do you believe that it's because he's outclassed in this regard by every other middle range character, and that he cannot stand up to the other characters very well? Like, for example, to another mid range character, Drake just completely destroys Jack because Jack has faults that that should be addressed. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, and going by that.
Alright, what kind of changes do you think should be made so that Jack is better but not too OP? Or OP in general?
Which guns does he need addressed?
Yeah.
Let's start with first let's start with his physical moves. Do you feel that his neutral square, the spin, should be given any changes?
I believe it should be given a faster startup. And so it's not punishable on dodge and block. And
well, I mean, the thing is to avoid making a completely safe move. So do you mean that you would just you would speed up the startup and slightly tone down the cooldown?
Yeah, see, I think I would just leave the recovery alone, but just boost the startup.
Okay. All right.
And one more change. It had a certain hitbox, a certain hurt box. A couple patches ago, where pre-release, post-release when the game came out, it had a stronger hitbox, and later on, a few patches later, apparently it got a hitbox nerf.
So you want to bring it back to one of the
basically restore that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go into his dash punch. Is there any suggestions you like for his dash punch? And remember, keep in mind that these changes are for, not just 1v1, it'd be for, all the other modes, 2v2 and free for all as well.
Well, personally, given his character, and he's a character with some mobility in him. The dashing punch, nothing to really do there with the AP gain and the effect it causes, but I would have it to where he can uppercut after a punch, but if he punches an opponent that's blocking, then he will not be allowed to uppercut and will be punished if he whiffs it on block.
Okay, so to give him more combo options, correct?
Actually, not that, but it's more of a mobility thing, to give him more mobility, like Cat or Parappa, because he's a mobility character, a mobile character, so he should have something like that.
Okay, and you believe that like a move that puts Jack into puts into place like this should be rewarded if it lands. Jack's mobility, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Now, what about any changes to Jack's up square, the aerial, the jump into the air? The uppercut. There you go.
I mean, it does have punishable air recovery, but like I would leave that alone to buff other things that need attention in his moveset.
Okay, so it would also be in the terms of to make him more balanced, since he would need a little bit of a flaw, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And the final square move would be his down square. Any changes to that?
Yeah, I would. The move can keep being used for however long the user wants to use it, but it could only. It could be used twice in succession, but after the second time, it goes back to having I don't know how to explain it, but
it goes back to be its original first use.
Yeah, like you can keep using it, but it's not like what it sounds like. You can't just keep using it. It has the pauses and the recovery.
So what
looking
change?
at the second bounce, because the second bounce is kind of a faster version.
Right.
I mean, not a faster version, but it's basically the last time he can use the move without the recovery kicking in, the major recovery. I would boost up the first stage of the move in the air, of course, not the ground, because
so you would decrease the startup he has, like when he spins in the air before he dives, correct?
Yeah, when he dives down, I would increase the air version of the first stage, not the second stage of it.
Okay, so it just decreased the startup then, pretty much.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I believe that covers all of his physicals. While we're at physicals, however, you want any issues with the dash or with the jet board?
Oh yeah, the jet board. Okay, well, the jet board is it's a single attack, but it can also be a combo. The jet board itself gains currently 5 AP. I would actually change that to 10 AP, but take away 5 from the punch that comes after, which is 35 AP, and so I'm basically taking away 5 AP from the punch and giving it to the jet board. So there's about a fair bit of AP in between both moves.
Okay, yeah, that seems pretty doable. Yeah, that seems pretty doable.
Yeah, and I would also on ground, where if the move is used on a grounded opponent, I would change that reaction to. I don't know if you're aware of the beam reflexor reaction, but it's like a reaction where they can't block, like they wouldn't be able to block after the jet board hits. The jet board should be an attack that once the jet board hits, the punch should be able to come afterwards.
Okay, so it's an issue. So you would also want to address the issue where the punch does not connect after the jet board sometimes, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that seems pretty fair, because I've seen Jack just be he does the punch and the jet board lands correctly, but the punch just misses completely, which is seems pretty.
Well, that's something in the air, but yeah, that's something else, but that's in the air.
Okay.
It seems pretty unfair though.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, going from that, let's start with Jack's triangle guns. Let's begin with his blaster. It has recently been nerfed from patch 1.0, and you can go into that, Elias, and tell us what you would change back from that.
Okay, the blaster side triangle. Well, first of all, I would pretty much give it everything, basically what it is now. I would just give it back what it had before, because where it stands now, it's not just the AP gain and the range, but the new things they added to it actually made it worse. Like they gave it continuous fire, and they gave it where shots travel faster when shot. But the thing is, with the faster shots travel, that it did something to its blaster that really hurt it, where Jack can no longer short hop and shoot. Like, he can't play the poking game with it because of the faster shots travel. The second shot of the blaster would always come out when he does a short hop, messing up the poking game that he can't do anymore.
Oh, so basically you would go back, so making it short hop cancelable in a way, since it would help his mid-range game against other characters as well as.
So I would just restore it completely, but get rid of the knockdown. It doesn't need the knockdown.
Okay, and restoring it completely,
the eject roll, my bad.
Yeah, so restoring it would be returning it back to 10 AP per bullet and eject roll, correct?
Yeah, in the range.
Okay. And that seems about right, since as a mid-range character, he really does rely on pokes. So you're saying, like, you believe that this would also help in his 2v2 game, in which case he can actually be more useful as a partner, correct?
Yeah, this is just something he downright like. He needs this. Like, there's no way around it. There's other characters in the game like where he is outzoned easily by any projectile that goes farther than his, which is just about everyone. Like Noriko's disc, her rockets, Sweet Tooth's Molotovs. Like, he basically gets outzoned by any character with a projectile just because his doesn't go as far.
Seems really necessary for him.
I mean,
it's really his only gun with the potential to go far at all, so it only makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So going by that, any changes you would make to his Peacemaker, the up triangle? Up triangle.
The Peacemaker. Given what it is, I would first of all increase the AP value to 10. And
it sets at 5, so, and that's incredibly low for such a high commitment, purely anti-air move.
Yeah, and considering its startup and its recovery and combo potential, I would definitely put it at 10. Because even Big Daddy has his electric stunning move gives 10 AP. So
right, and and it's a lot less commitment than Jack, since
yeah.
Okay.
Jack has a lot of recovery and startup on the move and not great combo potential, so I think 10 AP would be highly reasonable.
Okay. Let's see. What any changes to his arc wielder, the neutral triangle?
Yeah, arc wielder. That's this gun was. I don't know what they did to it after I don't know why they changed it after the patch, because basically where it was at pre-patch, it was like balance. It was one of his best moves. It was like at its best. Like it was just real good. But
can you describe how it used to be, like its properties, how it used to be?
Yeah, pre-patch, the electrical current that comes out the gun, it used to keep the enemies trapped within the electrical current, where they couldn't escape until the duration was over of the move.
All right.
And it didn't have the recovery it had. Now it had 8 frames of recovery. Correct. And now it has 18. So that's
pretty bad.
Yeah.
And how much AP did the move reward beforehand?
I think it was 15. I forgot.
It was kind of low. Is that what it was, or was the AP all right?
Yeah, it was low. Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, what you're saying is they turned this, in all honesty, pretty balanced move, and they've just made it. They made it worse for another reason.
It went from a really balanced and effective move to a move you do not want to rely on or use most of the time at all.
Sounds like they're ruining Jack.
Okay, so essentially the changes you would make to it would be.
I would give it back the pre-patch ability it had, where it kept enemies in the the electrical wave, but I would give it its post-patch. What it has now, it's eject spiral, like where
eject spiral.
It pushes them back after the last hit of the move. So basically combining what it was pre-patch into what it is post-patch, but take away some of the recovery, because It's just too much recovery.
18's too much, so you would like cut it down to maybe 12 at least.
Yeah, like 12.
Okay. All right, and I believe that does it with all triangle. Now let's move on to his circle moves. Perhaps his most used circle move, the wave concussor, down circle. Any changes you would like to do to this, or do you believe how it stands is sort of okay, and there needs to be a middle ground?
I mean, this gun, this was basically his first or second move, like before like any changes to it happened. It received a large range nerf where it got it lost 50% of its hit volume, and then it also lost a special effect they had where it hit enemies behind them uncharged. So looking at the nerfs that it got, the buffs that I would give it would be well, first of all, it's a charge move. This is one of the only charge moves in the game that does not give him additional AP. So, I mean, I don't really understand why it does that, especially with its startup. It doesn't have a fast startup to begin with, so I would make it so he gets 10 AP, gets 10 additional AP off the fully charged because it's a charging move.
So it will give a reward 40 AP, is that what you're saying?
No, it will give 30 AP.
Oh, so it's not even a 30 AP move for full charge.
Yeah, it's 20. It's 20 both uncharged and not charged. I mean,
Wow.
both charged and not, yeah.
Wow, did not know that uncharged and charged were the same AP. Wow.
Jack really doesn't have very much.
Yeah. And one more change to it. The ability that it had, which was, hitting from behind, that was actually... It was a corner kill confirm, and mid-screen it was a character-specific kill confirm. That is something that really affected his game, like, because it's a kill confirm, so it's something that helped him out. With that taken away, it just really hurt him a lot.
Well, do you believe that using it in the air, the way how it is in the air at least, where if you keep it charged, the wave concussor will, mostly hit in the general direction that Jack is facing. Do you believe that should stay, since, it would promote a lot less of, just jump up in the air, charge it, jump up in the air and charge it?
Well, the thing is, this move, it's a move known to have a form of 360 radius where it hits from behind him.
Well, true, but I mean, in the sense of, it would promote, Jack using his other tools, is what I mean.
Yeah, but the thing is, the move already got a 50%, hitbox volume, whatever you call it,
Oh, no, I know, but, on the ground, though, its ability to hit behind him would, that's what you would mostly stress, but in the air, would you be okay with if, the wave concussor, depending which area, if it'll hit mostly generally in that direction? Would you be okay with that?
What it does now, right?
Yes, correct. How it is in the air.
Yeah. It's fine in the air, cause especially after the nerf. I can't really say if it's balanced or not because of his other moves, but if his other moves get buffed correctly, then the way it is now can stay with the buffs that I'm recommending right now, which is just 2 buffs.
Right, and which would be on the ground it hits behind him better, and that additional AP because it's really silly that a move that you put time into that can be he can be shot out of, or at least forced to not even land it. It doesn't reward additional AP for essentially the same for doing uncharged and regular charge. That's pretty silly.
Yeah, a charge
and
move,
especially. Especially
Elias, let Smash say this, and then you can go back, Elias. I'm sorry,
right.
It's just the
So
variation.
it's like a charged move that you don't get any real benefit from it other than a guard break. That sounds kind of really bad for a character like Jack.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And like I said, given its startup, it really doesn't make any sense.
Right. And even then, if it lands on hit, he can't even follow it. He relies on that guard break. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So going from wave concursor, can we go into the needle laser, the side circle? What would you do to this move? I know a lot of Jacks have been really hit and miss about this. Some claim that it's gotten better. Some claim it's gotten worse. How do you feel about this?
Well, me and Silver, we both know it got the range buff and it got the speed buff, but the tracking, the way they left the tracking made it's actually more unsafe than it was pre-patch. Like they may have buffed certain things about it, but the buffs, it's weird because even with the buffs, it's actually more punishable because of the recovery and the tracking.
Okay, Smash, you say that so like the nerfs overdo the buffs then?
Yeah, basically, even though you got all these buffs, that one nerf pretty much kills the move.
Yeah, the recovery and the tracking nerf, those two completely the buffs, it outweighs the buffs.
Okay, so what would you do? So like, remember to keep Jack balanced. Which would you rather value more, the tracking or the recovery?
See, I mean, this is kind of a hard move to balance, but looking at it now, it would need like two buffs, but not like. Okay, well, what I have in mind is adjust the tracking a little bit. Like, I mean, because pre-patch it hit from behind opponents, and it doesn't do that anymore. And the tracking was like almost all around where it hits them.
It had a better radius, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because the tracking is the biggest concern. I maybe if they fix the tracking, that alone would be enough for where the move stands.
Alrighty, because because it tends to whiff completely if they're even just slightly above Jack. Correct?
Yeah, the move has a lot of weaknesses. Like it could be dodged in almost any way. A couple weaknesses will be that an opponent can easily just jump and air dodge it, punish him. Like because you could just air dodge through the needles. Simple high jump or roll or even go below when he jumps in the air. Like there's too many openings. There's too many openings to punish him when his move is used, and it doesn't matter if it's used offensively or defensively.
And because of the recovery, and Jack's focus on being mid-range, it doesn't really do him much service for it to have bad tracking and bad recovery. So it's kind of very high risk, decent reward. Would you say?
Yeah, actually, it's high risk and I wouldn't exactly say high reward, but it's a pretty good reward. It's a pretty good rewarding reward.
Okay, so overall
it's worth it then.
Yeah. When it hits an opponent, it's worth it, but it's a move as of where it stands now. It does not want to be like spammed or like relied on a lot because of its punishability.
Okay, so essentially, overall though, you're saying though this move is incredibly difficult to balance, and if the developers could find a way to balance it, some middle ground of between how it stands now and a little bit less cooldown and better tracking, this move would be perfect. Correct?
Yeah. Given its startup, yeah, I would think so.
Okay. Going on from here, what would you do with what many Jacks have argued or have claimed is near useless, his anti-gravity gun, the up circle?
This is also another gun to balance, but it's not really as hard to balance as it would seem so when you actually put a lot of consideration into it and like think about it for real. Like let's see, okay, where it stands now, looking at its startup and recovery,
and the reward.
I just think two of the changes that I have in mind would make it viable, like more viable than it is now, because it's kind of it's his most least used move, like with any Jack player.
So basically, it's what you're saying is this move, how it stands right now, is high risk, no reward.
It actually kind of does have a high reward, but it's not. It's like the needles. It's not that high because you could do the same combos from that as you could do with the needle laser, which is the jet board or the spin kick. So
that move seems kind of useless to me.
Yeah, I mean,
because there are better options, right?
Yeah. And no character should, in all honesty, no character in any game should ever have a move that's a filler move, a useless move where there's no reason to use this move because this other move exists. Correct?
Yeah, definitely. That is how this gun is. It's a gun where there are other moves in the game that can get the job done for the same combo or whatever,
Okay, so
which will
what?
be the wave concursor and the needle laser. So yeah, the mass inverter needs a buff, and considering that it's a unique move, which it alters gravity. Like this is a gun that had potential to be one of the best and most unique moves in the game. So this was just the opportunity I seen Superbot missed with Jack's character with this move.
Hmm.
So the buffs I would give it would be significantly increase the range and pick up blocking opponents, and that's it. It should be good from its recovery now and its startup. I would give it those 2 buffs.
Okay, so for when you say significantly increase the range, can you give us like an example of how much more range? Like, the width of the uncharged wave concursor, for example. Would you just just add that to the sides and basically all around him?
Yeah, this gun it's a gun that covers 360 range. But I don't really know how to explain how big I would make it, but
Just increase the radius to a slightly more usable range, correct? Because Jack puts himself really into the the fires of the other opponent, and if like you said, there's little reason to use this move if you have much safer options to do the same follow-ups.
Yeah, I would make the radius somewhere like, let me see, Sir Dance fire, like,
Okay.
Yeah, the fire that kind of spreads out when he shoots it on the ground.
Yeah, like, I forgot exactly how big that was, but it should be like somewhere like near that or slightly bigger.
No, that seems like a perfect range for an incredibly high risk move. And of
Yeah.
course, you would leave it so that it couldn't, level 1 confirm into itself, correct?
Yeah, the recovery though, where the recovery stands now, it is not possible to kill confirm it. So yeah, that's why I suggested the 2 buffs I did, because he wouldn't even be able to kill confirm off of it.
Okay, that seems incredibly fair. And this would actually make this move actually be seen for once, rather than just as a move, a player accidentally may have just pressed in the heat of the moment.
And it's also a move where you wouldn't like. It's a move that would it'll make people think how to approach Jack, because they know he had this gun. So it'd be like, you can't just go over to Jack and take advantage of his weaknesses and openings. This gun would actually make it so being close to him is a threat.
Right, and of course, like the obviousness would be, if you get reckless with this move, you'll be punished fairly for it.
Yeah, well, if it started from recovery, yeah, you should still be punished for it, yeah.
Okay, and moving on to his last move, his neutral circle, the little the drone. Anything you would do to this, or is for the most part how it stands, it's fine?
Well, actually, yeah, it could use it can actually use a buff, but I wanna like talk about this move a little bit. This move was actually very close to being balanced after its buff. It received some necessary and like essential buffs that it needed, but without the armor factor, without the armor, it's too. It's not a reliable tool.
What do you mean by the armor factor?
What was that?
Well, what do you mean by the armor factor?
Oh, it doesn't have any armor like whatsoever. It could be destroyed by any move that generates 1 AP and above.
I mean, doesn't that sort of balance it out in the sense that you throw it out there and your opponent's going to try and hit it, but since they're going to try and hit it, if Jack's other moves were to be buffed, for example, like the Peacemaker and the Needle Laser, wouldn't the move itself, how it stands at the moment, actually be fine for the most part? Since the move obviously has the risk.
That's something I thought about, given how high it is in the air, and I mean there are other moves in the game that work in a similar fashion to where they generate AP and they have armor. So I would just looking at how much AP this gun gives and what it could do, I wouldn't give it too much armor as other moves.
So you would give it something akin to like Ratchet's Tesla spikes then?
Give
Not
it like
his
10
Tesla spikes, but Mr. Zircon and Emmett's turret. They both
have 30 AP.
Well, Ratchet's Mr. Zircon is actually 40 AP of armor, and Emmett's turret is 30 AP of armor. So looking at Jack's Outburst, I would give it about 25 AP of armor.
Okay, because Jack's drone lasts the least amount of time as the other three.
It lasts the least, and not only that, but other characters, the other two I mentioned, they can either move theirs to a new location, or Ratchet can Mr. Zircon follows him.
He can refresh it as well.
You can what?
Yeah.
Emmett can refresh his turrets as well.
Yeah, he can refresh his turret, and then with Ratchet, Mr. Zircon follows him around while the gyro bursts are still in the air firing. So it's left to be
And you can just call him back anytime. There's no real startup or anything like that.
Yeah, and with Jack, he can't cancel his, he can't get rid of his. Like, it has to be used to the total duration before it disappears.
It's a commitment move, is what you're saying, and because it's such a commitment move, you feel that giving it the 25 armor, like all the other drones or turrets, for example, you feel like that would be a fair enough balance for it, correct?
In terms of like a full buff like that, that's all it needs. Because the buffs he got post patch, it did it some good. So all it needs is the armor. I'm surprised the armor was actually left out after the patch.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that would fall in line because the other opponent would still go for it, and the opponent would still go for it, and they would still receive the same amount, but it would be less. It would be less destroyed as quickly because any single move can destroy it, and these other drones just take a hit and move on. And the move doesn't even cost stun either, like the turret, for example.
It doesn't.
So we covered his moves. What about his throws?
All right, for his throws, okay, well, Daxter actually extends his arm out during a grab. Whether or not this was missed or not, I think it would be really essential for Daxter's arm to be part of the hitbox. And also his up grab, I believe his up grab reaction should be altered to where it causes a heavy reaction so that Jack can get off a combo off of it. It won't be nothing major like good Cole or Cat, but it will still be at least a combo that will help him out, especially given his slower grab and his recovery.
Okay, yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Considering that Jack's recovery, he does have a pretty long throw, and to counteract that long throw and long recovery, he should be able to get some reward out of it. Correct?
Yeah, and also this is part of his character, acrobatic type character, mobile. So this will fit his character perfect in his grab.
So for the most part, you feel that his supers, his level 1, 2, and 3 are pretty comfortable from where they stand, correct? If all these buffs we mentioned were to be applied, is that correct?
Level 2, not really, because level 2, it's only useful when the stun makes contact. Besides that, all it takes is a simple jumps, one jump, air dodge, or you can even roll through it. You could roll right through it, when you're in the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, once you dodge it, the recovery on his level 2, it's pretty punishable. You could.
A lot of level 2s have punishable, recovery.
Given Jack's level 2, is something that is so easy to punish. You do a simple jump and air dodge, you could just straight up level 1 or level 2 it.
Okay, so essentially you would decrease the cooldown.
Well, not the cooldown, but the actual bomb radius, of his level 2.
You mean you would increase it again?
Increase the active frames that kill you.
The active frames and the range.
Okay. So, but the range wouldn't need that much more, correct? Maybe, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 more steps to the left and right. So even if they're a dead center, they can't just roll out of it for free.
Well, the thing is, the range isn't why it's easy to roll dodge through. The range has nothing to do with why it's roll dodge. It's because of the active frames. It acts,
Okay, so
just extend it.
So just extend the active frames then.
Yeah, of the bomb. Yeah.
Okay, that seems pretty fair. And level 3, where it stands, is pretty comfortable. In 1v1 you get your 2, and in other modes you can get you can get your multiples with some effort.
I'll just decrease the cost to 725, and yeah.
To 725?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, assuming all the AP buffs were put into place, correct?
Yeah, because you know what is up. Well,
Wait. No, I'm sorry. Like, so you wouldn't.
Because I mean, even with his AP buffs, his AP gain is still not going to be that great. It's just going to be better.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you would just knock it down from 750 to 725, correct?
Yeah, because right now it's 750, so just put it at 725.
Okay, 25 doesn't seem that unreasonable. Okay, so going after all that, so what are some of Jack's glitches?
Okay, some of Jack's glitches, starting off with the jet board. It still drives the jet board punch, which is the second hit after the jet board. That still drives through opponents' bodies in midair. When Jack makes contact, the punch will still miss sometimes. But that's actually an online thing, like a netcode issue, because I found out that offline Superbot actually did fix that. And some more would be the wave concursor. When Jack fully charges that on the ground, he can do moves such as the dashing punch, ground spin kick, and ground super dive attack in the air. So it will show the ground animation of those moves in the air, which is pretty weird. And then this is a real uncommon one, the needle lasers. Apparently they are cancelable like during mid-fire. If Jack was to be hit like directly after using it, the needles will like disappear. And another one is Jack's level 2, the dark, the initial stun that they added post patch. Yeah, the stun only doesn't work on Jack, so his own stun doesn't work on another Jack.
Wow.
So
that seems pretty weird.
Silly.
Yeah, Jack can just break out of it. Like, he doesn't even have to mash any buttons. Like, he just breaks out of it. So
Jack Meter got dumber.
yeah. And for Light Jack has a few. Starting off with the Light Blast. Online, when Jack places himself in a corner, if he fires a Light Blast, the Light Blast will stop in place, like directly in front of him, as if there was like an invisible barrier in front of him. And then and then Light Jack, his character like model box, like hitbox, whatever you call it, like the characters thing. On stages with platforms like on San Francisco, the gray platform, the bottom gray platform on the right side, if Jack was to go below that, he couldn't fly upwards from below the platform. Like, it's hard to explain, but there's something about his character like that it just does not let him go in certain directions if he's under or beside certain platforms.
So his hitbox just gets snagged on platforms, right?
Yeah. The theme that plays on his level 3, it has about like 3 to 4 different startup sequences. It's weird, but yeah, it has like 3 to 4 different like startup sequences. Like, yeah. And then this one isn't an actual gameplay bug, but it's related to Jack. Ashland minion. Yeah, it's
Oh god, yeah,
it's messed up. Like,
she twerks out all over the place.
Yeah, like
she gets her twerk on.
Yeah, it's like her minion is literally broken.
Oh god,
that needs to be fixed because I want to go back to actually using her. So
don't you want to see her? Don't you want to see her twerking out all the time?
No.
Okay. Okay. Does that kind of wrap it up for glitches?
Yeah.
So, can you wrap up like everything about Jack's most important moves that need the buffs, as well as the most important glitches?
Well, the moves that Jack needs buffing would be in no specific order: the Peacemaker, the Mass Inverter, the Blaster, the Wave Concursor, Needle Laser, and the Java Burster for the guns. And the melee attacks, the square commands would be the jet board, the spin kick, and a super dive attack.
Okay.
Level 2 in terms of buffing would need the most important buffs because it's a level 2, and as of now where it stands, it doesn't really justify the power of what a level 2 should. So, yeah.
Okay.
The most important glitches will be the wave concursor when fully charged, the jet board in the air, the dark bomb initial stun via Jack versus himself, the light Jack, and Ashland minion. Yeah.
Spazzing all over the place.
R.I.P. Spaz Ashland. Okay. And with that, I think we've reached the conclusion of our Jack podcast, and that was me, Domino SNK.
Smash and crash.
Oh, and LightEcoSage.
Yep. And remember, guys, these podcasts are meant to inform you guys, give you guys opinions of how people who have been playing these characters for months on end, have developed this character as of now, and in multiple modes. So, yeah, remember to be sure to keep that in mind, and we'll catch you later. Bye bye.